Justin Evans, Chief Strategy Officer of Collective. Collective is a multi-screen ad platform. We put ads on desktop computers, mobile devices, and television, and we do it using data. And our promise to our clients is we help to optimize the experience of the consumer.
Justin, hold it closer to your mouth.
Across all those screens. I'll put my bandana on. So what I want to talk to you about today is two things, sort of in two pieces. First, Collective's origins. Before we got truly multi-screen, we were a pure digital company. So I want to talk about the way the TV ecosystem looks to someone who's a digital native focused on audience-based advertising. And then second, I want to talk about something, a new product imaginatively called TV Analytics that Collective has launched that bridges linear TV and the digital world in what we think is a pretty unique way. So to begin with, I want to talk about a little bit of a typo there. It says, TV can't adapt, digital will inherit the earth. So when we're at a conference that basically focuses on all the advances in television, it's easy to lose track of where we were as recently as 5 years ago. Digital executives with a sort of mix of arrogance and exasperation would think about television as being a place that was completely not innovative and a place that was going to be left behind by digital. So why did digital people think that? Well, from digital people's perspective, to begin with, TV wasn't measurable. TV was being measured in terms of GRP delivery, which was age and sex, reach, frequency. But to a digital person, that's just delivery. Like that? To a digital person, we get the impression logs right out of DoubleClick. This wasn't telling us about consumer impact.
You didn't check this slide?
Clicks, online conversion, that was consumer impact that we could go back to a marketer with, and that's what we deemed significant. At the same time, back in the 2010 era, digital was being powered by data. Targeted advertising was making campaigns more efficient. And finally, digital folks had just basically slain the dragon of print, reducing a multi-billion-dollar ad industry to rubble, and we were very full of ourselves, and we thought TV was next. So of course, cut to today, and none of those dire predictions about the death of TV happened. As a matter of fact, TV is still the biggest advertising medium, as you know. Consumers are spending more time on it. It's still got fabulous reach. And the advertisement dollars are following this as a consumer experience. But what has happened is that even in an environment that's so rich in television that you would think would argue for complacency, what's actually happened is that the TV ecosystem is starting to look much more like something a place that a digital native feels comfortable. So let's meet that new TV. First, the new TV ecosystem loves data. TV advertisers have embraced targeting data outside of age and sex, but going to purchase data, much richer than demographic data, but purchase data, lifestyle characteristics, and even something I'll talk about in a few minutes, digital data that can be applied to TV. The new TV is also all about technology. If you want to deliver audience campaigns, you have to have the technology infrastructure that enables the delivery of the ad accompanied by or guided by the data. And there are two flavors of that. The first is addressability. To this crew, we don't have to talk about or define what that is, but I will anyway. It's taking the pipes of certain MVPDs and being able to, with, for instance, NVIDIA or Visible World technology, identify which households have certain characteristics that you, the brand, desire, and then you deliver a campaign only to those households. Programmatic TV is a term that's been used with great frequency lately, some would say abused, so I'm going to offer a definition. Programmatic TV is when you create a campaign and you've chosen inventory specifically because that inventory has a high concentration of the audience you want. And that's the only criteria by which you choose that inventory. Often, hopefully, that same inventory and the data you use includes data that's richer than age and sex. We're talking about car ownership. We're talking about people who are in market for credit cards. In programmatic TV, the campaigns use impressions, a digital metric, not GRPs, to measure delivery. And it delivers on diverse, fragmented inventory across multiple geographies, cable networks, broadcast networks, and MVPDs in order to create an aggregated large campaign to maximize the delivery to the key audience, the chosen audience. And probably the most important part of this whole mix is that the data-driven TV of today is measurable. In the addressable ecosystem, because ads are delivered at the household level, it's possible to partition the delivery of the ad campaign into a test group that's exposed to the campaign and a control group that's not. And whenever you're able to control this dynamic, you're able to control, you're able to measure lift. Lift in sales, lift in attitudes as a result of the campaign. And what that creates is effectively an addressable and programmatic world that, in my opinion, is following in the footsteps of what digital did a number of years ago. And I think that's really instructive to all of us who are in the space. It's instructive because when the data-oriented medium begins, generally only direct response advertisers are interested. Why is that? It's because data-driven advertising is an abstraction. You can't turn on the show and see your ad on that show. You can't pick up the newspaper and feel the ink between your fingers of what your ad looks like in full color in the Wall Street Journal. Your ad, by intent, is being delivered across a highly fragmented and to you usually invisible network of inventory, only brought together by this abstraction of an audience definition. But when we can do test and control groups and produce an ROI that can speak to big CPG and speak to big auto about how much money they made or how many vehicles they sold, multiplied by the contribution margin by vehicle, and give them an ROI for a campaign, now they're interested. And so in the same way that in digital land, digital started off as a medium that was only interesting to DR advertisers or ad categories where people could convert online. And then ROI studies pioneered by folks like ComScore, Insight Express, and Nielsen provided the ROI transparency that drew the big brand advertisers like Procter and Walmart into the game. We're saying the same thing in data-driven television. And I would probably make the statement that 2013 was really the foundational year for addressable and programmatic TV, where it really started to catch on, built the low base, and now 2014 and beyond is going to be how we're seeing it scale. It's going to be the time that we see it scale. So what does this mean for data-driven advertisers today? Well, in the context of the work that we've been doing at Collective, it means that brands are able to tell what their online consumers are watching on TV. And we think this is really significant in a small way because online behaviors reveal something really unique from the point of view of a consumer marketer. There are plenty of resources in television to tell you what certain demos are watching on TV. There are plenty of resources at a high level to tell you what purchasers of certain stuff are watching on TV. MRI, Simmons, Nielsen, TRA, Rentrack. But digital data reveals certain things that are really unique to digital. Only in the digital ecosystem can you get big data, can you get data at scale that says whether someone is in market right now for a product or service. And not just a few thousand people taking a survey, an MRI, that then gets projected up to the whole US population. But tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people yesterday have indicated that they're in market for this product or service right now, and that data can be an influence on how you spend your media dollars. So to kind of give an illustration of this for fun, before I talk a little bit about the methodology, I thought I'd bring it home. It's like a little quiz, which I hope you will take with me. So which show of these three is watched by people who are in market for luxury cars, according to our data? Shark Tank, The Biggest Loser, or Sunday Night Football? Any guesses?
Football.
I heard football, I heard Shark Tank. All right, defend football. Who thought football?
Me.
Go ahead. Oh, you folks.
Although my cousin is the co-executive producer of Shark Tank,
Oh, no nepotism. Defend your decision on football.
so I have a little extra data. What's my?
So why football?
All those guys buy all those, huge SUVs for those parties.
Are they luxury SUVs?
Yes.
All right. So who said Shark Tank? We had Shark Tank. Do you want to provide your rationale for Shark Tank? It's a business enthusiast. Right, so from a demographic profile of how much money you have and a psychographic profile of wanting to show off your money, Shark Tank would be considered a good match. And the trick is that is intuitive to us if we bring together a number of factors, but those number of factors are hard to summarize in a meaningful way in a syndicated database. However, if you can just go to BlueKai and pull up 1 million people who are in market for a luxury car, you can quantify the fact that indeed Shark Tank is the show that among those three is most watched by people who are in market right now for a luxury car. So we got two more, so you can catch up. Sorry.
All right.
So which show is most watched by people who are in market for air travel? The Mindy Project, New Girl, or Two Broke Girls? Any takers? No, nothing? That's too bad, because this is the hardest one for me to describe. It's actually the Mindy Project. So unlike Shark Tank, there's not really an intuitive place for me to go to say why the Mindy Project is the show most watched by people who are in market for air travel. You could say it's set in a medical setting, so people who have money, people who in the medical profession watch this show and they have money and then therefore they can travel. It could be that Mindy Kaling was born abroad and it attracts people who are born abroad who have to travel to see their families. I can't quite tell you, but that was the one that popped in the air travel category. And this one's a little easy. Which show is most watched by people who are in market for consumer electronics? 2.5 Men, The Carrie Diaries, or Big Bang Theory?
Big Bang Theory.
Yeah, it's Big Bang Theory. Big Bang Theory is a show about nerds, and nerds buy gadgets. But the rationale, but this is all coming from data that is collected in two ways, which I'll describe now. If you're wondering how we do this, basically what happened is in Collective's data platform, we have onboarded television viewing data from Rentrack to the tune of 13 million households, all broken out at the broadcast primetime and top 50 cable network level. At the same time, we have clients who are placing our pixels on their websites, or we are integrating data with BlueKai, our partner in the in-market portion of this. And either one of those data sets are going to tell you some very important things. If I'm putting a pixel on a luxury car website, I now know that the people who I've pixeled are in market for the luxury car category, and they're in the purchase funnel for my brand. If I'm getting data from BlueKai, that data is being culled from many publishers who are in the auto space, and they're identifying consumers who are configuring cars on those sites. And Blue Kai is setting business rules to determine how long that data stays fresh, how long that behavior remains an indicator of my consumer intent. All that data, all the pixel data and the in-market data exists on the collective data platform. The show data exists on the collective data platform. And by intersecting these two data sets, we were able to identify where the two populations effectively overlap in a way that's greater than the behavior of the consumer group on average. And we're able to create indices and create show rankers for folks, for advertisers and brands who want to apply in-market behavior to a TV buy, target in-market consumers on TV, and effectively make TV actionable in a way that would satisfy even the most arrogant and exasperated digital person. And I hope that brings it full circle. We're now, to my comment about this type of targeting in television reaching scale last year, I guess maybe I should call 2013 the year one of TV audience buying. But if that was year zero, 2014 is year one of the year of TV audience buying. So do we have time for questions now, if there are any, or do we go to the end?
You do, actually. Yes.
Are there any
Anybody have a
questions
question?
about the methodology or content here?
Is there a question out there? Well, to what extent do you feed this data to, are the broadcasters buying this data through you, or mostly the agencies? Because big data is definitely driving, content itself, and not just, placements of advertising campaigns. Where are you getting your interest from these days? Yeah,
right now the folks who are leveraging this data are brands, and generally we're working through a pixel. We're pixeling multiple pages on the website, and then the client is able to pull up multiple views and rankings according to basically any place they can drop a pixel. So it's on a product page, or it's on a conversion page, or it's across multiple products. They're able to compare and contrast where their in-market consumers are watching TV. Usually we're then turning that around and comparing that to where they are spending, so that every month we can show up and say, listen, here are the 5 networks where your buyers are and you're not. Or here are the 5 networks where you are spending too much money, at least if look through the lens of this in-market data. I would love for the networks to come and use this as a sales tool, but it's only a 9-month-old project, so we're not there yet.
Any other questions in the audience? One over there, Lenny?
Yes, so the short answer question I have, so the question really is, are the clients that you're seeing using it to analyze what they've done, or is it more to plan and predict what they're going to do? And given that it's 9 months, probably longer rather than less.
Yeah, thanks.
Can you restate his question?
Yeah, so the question is, are the people who are using these analytics looking backward at what they've already bought, or are they looking forward at what they could buy?
That's a good question.
And it's very much the latter. We're delivering data on a monthly basis. They're looking for opportunities for reallocation or programmatic buys, and then this data is helping them determine. It's usually they're very transparent with us. They say, I'm not using your data alone. I'm using demographic data, other inputs, preference of the client in order to drive it, but this is a useful input in how I actually spend the dollar tomorrow. Thank you very much.
Thank you.